My professor thought he could get away with doing things to me, until I figured out I was stronger than he thought. I was flunking college, and it was all for the wrong reasons. Allow me to share what started innocent and quickly escalated to the school board and ethics committee. One of my classes had the same professor. Professor Trent seemed decent enough of a professor, up until he set his sights on me. Suddenly, my A+ status was dropping steadily, even though the quality of my work was still on point. My friend said, "You need to go talk to him." So I scheduled a meeting with him. The moment the door shut behind me, the hairs on my neck started to stand on edge. "Well, Miss Finn, your grades aren't doing so well." "No kidding, what happened?" I was completely confused. Professor Trent just stares at me with something dark and predatory in his eyes. "It seems to me like you're not putting the work in." I gaped at him. "I have, though. I can't flunk any classes because of the scholarship I'm on." That's when my stomach dropped at the slow smirk and darkness in his eyes that had me wanting to run. I felt like I was in front of a terrible predator stalking its prey. "How shall we raise your grades then?" I stare almost blindly at him. I swallow hard. "What do you mean?" Suddenly, he is in front of me holding me to the chair. "Oh, I think you know exactly what I am saying." I finally got out of his meeting room crying and shaking. This wasn't what I wanted. I said no so many times, but he didn't stop. I go immediately to the on-campus emergency center. The woman at the desk takes one look at me before leading me into a private room. "Can you talk about it?" Her name tag states her name is Kelly. I am muffling sobs and am shaking violently. I told him no. I told him to stop. "Why didn't he stop?" I ask desperately. Kelly grabs my folded hands and stares at me. "Because most monsters live in human skin suits." Kelly responded immediately as she squeezed my hands. Her words were never more true than in this moment. I was failing in his 2 classes. I began hesitantly. Kelly just holds compassion in her hold, movements, and in her eyes. "I scheduled a meeting to find out how to fix my grade," I say in a monotone voice. Kelly glares at the wall over my shoulder. It had felt off the moment I had entered. "Can you tell me who?" I stare into Kelly's steady eyes as I whisper, "Professor Trent." Kelly calms me down enough to call the police. It was even more traumatizing when they ran their tests on my hole giving my testimony. I had broken down so many times that it had taken over 4 hours. Kelly offered me a safe place to stay. I agreed immediately. The next morning, the ethics committee calls me and states if I don't show up that I would be expelled. I am standing shakily in front of the ethics committee. "After reviewing the evidence, we will be expending you." I let out a pathetic sob as my life blew up, effective immediately. I had security follow me to my dorm room as I packed my things and left to a friend's house. The court later that day only gave Professor Trent a slap on the wrist. I felt sick, but I couldn't let this be the end. Then I ruined Professor Trent's life by contacting many other women that had gone through what I did. The numbers staggered me, over 100. All the same story, failing grades out of the blue only to be cornered by him. Behind closed doors, his masks would drop and the evil would show plain as day. It made me sick that he has gotten away with this for so long. I then sent it to a public newspaper. It was the only newspaper that did its own research and would leave me completely anonymous. I didn't want any blowback if Professor Trent found out it was me tearing his world apart piece by piece. Professor Trent was fired in under a month after the newspaper hit the stands. I sent one to all the females that had been in my situation. Every single one of them suddenly started pressing charges against the college and Professor Trent, myself included. I received a call from the college. "We want you back." They had wanted me back only to have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. I didn't think twice as I answered no. Searching for another college was easy once I contacted Kelly to help direct me. She happily did once I told her I had wanted to switch majors to psychology. It took me less than 2 years to graduate with a bachelor's degree. It took me another 4 years to get my doctorate degree in psychology. One day out of the blue, a jail called me wanting a psychoanalysis on one of their inmates. As soon as I heard the name, I agreed. I was seated across from Professor Trent. All he could do was snarl, "You!" I just smirk at him. "Hello, Trent. I will be psychoanalyzing you, and it seems like we are already off to a bad start. Let me introduce myself. I am the justice that you evaded for so long."